So this first video we're going to be watching today is called Why Do Cozy Games Suck? And as someone who is a based cozy game hater, I relate to this a ton. So, let me switch to the corner. Perfect. So this is called Why Do Cozy Games Suck? Alex is going to have very based opinions on why every flavor of the month simulator cozy games just don't work. Let's hope this is a good one. So we're gonna watch it.
Cozy games suck lately.
Lately, I'd argue they suck in general, but go on.
Ever since Animal Crossing New Horizons sold a ridiculous number of copies, everyone has been hopping on the cozy game train.
I'd argue before New Horizons came out. Like, I love Valhalla Cyber Bartos Simulator, but after that game came out, there was a ton of clones after that, and Valhalla came out around a few years before New Horizons, so like I kind of see your point, but also like it's not just because of Animal Crossing. Quote unquote cozy games have kind of been a plague on a lot of indie games. I'd even argue like Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley, the whole farming sim thing, has really kind of ruined a lot of modern releases. There's been some exceptions, like the farming sim stuff, like that one game Fields of Mystria, which I'm not playing on stream. I'll maybe play offline sometime because there's some anime waifus in it. But I'd argue that it's been a lot more of a plague than just New Horizons, but we'll continue.
Which is great. I love me some cozy games, but
I hate me some cozy games, so we're not seeing eye and eye really on this video of it, but go on.
some of them aren't quite up to snuff. Why are so many of these cozy games sucking? The cozy game genre.
Hold on,
Some of them aren't quite up to snuff. Why are so many of these cozy
why are you wearing a pacifier?
sucking?
Why are you wearing a pacifier? What is up with that?
The cozy game genre has been severely lacking games since the beginning of time.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Again, farming sims are a form of a cozy game. Valhalla has some like other derivatives as well. The whole like bartender cooking sim type thing. I always say this without doxing myself. I was actually making sort of my own Valhalla clone. That's basically like cooking for like a little community or whatever. I won't say much more than that because I'll dox stuff immediately. But like I was working on a game myself about that, and one of the things we wanted to really focus on was not exactly like the vibes or like the story, but more the core gameplay itself of cooking. Because it was all about cooking food and stuff like that. There was some weird issues. This was a Game Jam game, by the way. This was like fucking 2 or 3 years ago. It has been a bit. It was a bit of a trouble getting that working because one of the programmers on the project really wanted to hone in on weird chopping physics, and it kind of ruined a lot of the direction of the game that I was trying to go for. But if you're gonna make a new like Valhalla clone or whatever, you really want to focus on the gameplay rather than, oh, here's a new story, here's new vibes, here's new character. Focus on the gameplay first, because gameplay is king when it comes to and I think this is what I'm hoping this is gonna be the reason why this video says why do cozy games suck. It's because the core gameplay is not engaging enough to a lot of players. That's why when you see a lot of like smaller content creators, a lot of smaller VTubers talk about, oh, I do cozy games as my main thing. They don't get a lot of views. It's because it's not only not engaging with the player, the streamer, it's also not engaging with the audience. The not only the consumers of the game, but also consumers of the content as well. It's why a lot of my niches focus on like action games. I used to stream rhythm games, stuff that's a lot more visually engaging, so that players can not only watch you for you, but watch you for the game as well. because you probably see a lot of people playing like TCG Card Simulator or whatever the fuck is out there now. They aren't watching it. If it's a really popular streamer playing it, they're not watching it for the game. They're watching it for the streamer. You don't really get a lot of people like, oh yeah, this game that'll turn my brain off. Oh, I'd love to watch someone play that. That's not really a thing in the streamer or VTuber community that I've really seen. But let's continue.
We've had a few like The Sims, Harvest Moon, and of course Animal Crossing. But then came Eric Barone. Known online
they're
as
mentioning
Concerned
Stardew Valley.
Ape, this solo indie developer enjoyed the Harvest Moon games, but he saw areas that the games could be improved on. So he got to work developing an entire farm sim.
I do like hosting the streams while I'm there. Yeah, you like it's the difference between I'm streaming Kingdom Hearts. People come to me that are brand new because they like Kingdom Hearts. I like Kingdom Hearts as Bond over Kingdom Hearts. Versus I'm streaming Stardew Valley. Who watches a Stardew Valley stream for a new person? Why would you discover someone who's playing Stardew Valley? You know, is there a big want for Stardew Valley streamers? Not particularly. It's mostly established content creators that that people like, oh, I'll watch this person play Stardew Valley, not because they're playing Stardew Valley, but because they're blah blah blah, you know.
Alone. And it turned out fantastic. To date, Stardew Valley has sold over 20 million copies.
I've only played a little bit of Stardew Valley. It's a fine game. It's not like my type of thing. I will try to get Fields of Mystria because like here's a really funny thing. The one time I like kind of played a good chunk of Stardew Valley was because I installed anime mods. One that turned the art style, like the portraits, into anime characters. Fields of Mystria is just Stardew Valley with the anime mods built in. So that's probably going to be the game I will gravitate towards more. I'll probably get on Steam Deck when it's like a few bucks. Because it's anime, right? I'm a weeb. I like anime. So that's probably going to be the appeal that I will do when I play it off stream. But yeah, Stardew Valley is good. It deserves a lot of praise. I am very curious about his next game. I think it's like Chocolatier, Haunted Chocolatier, or something like that. The new game by Concerned Ape. It looks cool. It looks nice. But I have a feeling a lot of streamers are going to be playing that, trying to get growth off of it, when it's sort of the opposite. You play that game to attain your growth rather than growing off of that, if that makes sense.
Platforms. These numbers are completely unheard of for an indie game, especially when developed by a single person. Concerned Ape's game shows developers and players that you don't have to be part of a huge studio to create something amazing and profitable. The dev did work his butt off, though. You don't just make a masterpiece like...
I mean, there's also Cave Story as well. That was, I think, before Stardew Valley, and that, was crazy popular. I will, to be fair, that game was free. And it wasn't until Nicholas kind of got the IP and did fucky stuff with it. Don't support Nicholas, by the way. There's a whole rabbit hole of why you shouldn't support Nicholas. But there's no dev behind Cave Story. Like, that was a really popular game at the time. So a lot of like early indie games, before the indie game boom and the indie game oversaturation, yeah, the people are going to play because, hey, I'm tired of AAA slop. This is probably like back mid-2010s. I'm tired of AAA slop. Give me something new from like a random dude in Japan or Europe or whatever.
Like Stardew Valley overnight, no matter how good you think you are at pixel art. Fast forward a few years, Animal Crossing New Horizons releases, and the pandemic starts. Everyone was home, everyone was bored, and with the Switch being so cheap compared to other consoles, the barrier to entry...
Especially Switch Lite. The Switch Lite was like kind of a little less expensive, so... I do agree that like the main reason why Animal Crossing New Horizons did so well, yeah, it was because of the pandemic. It was because of people were wanting to meet with each other. During the pandemic, they couldn't, and the online solution behind New Horizons was sort of like, hey, we're gonna fucking meet in Animal Crossing. That's how games are popular.
To play Animal Crossing was extremely...
Also, Animal Crossing is really good. I played Wild World. I played a fuck ton of Wild World when I was like a little kid with like a DS. It was so popular, my mom bought like a little pink DS Lite and played it with me and my brother. It was that good to where my mom was like, "Oh, I'll play this game too," and she made her own friends. I think she was weird story. My mom was a part of an Animal Crossing forum. She made an account on an Animal Crossing forum and was kind of popular, made new friends, got new designs from this forum. This was like, again, pre 2010, right? So, arguably, my mom was more into Animal Crossing than either me or my brother, right? I had Wild World, I had City Folk a little bit. City Folk was fine. I never really played New Leaf. I heard of New Leaf. New Leaf seems pretty fine, but like I wasn't really into when I had my 3DS. I wasn't just like action-y stuff. Pokemon too. I bought all the fucking Pokemon games on 3DS. But New Horizons, I was sort of interested because it was like, oh, you know, I miss playing Wild World. But the point is, I don't think Animal Crossing would have taken off as nearly as much if it was for the pandemic.
Low, especially for those people who are playing video games for the first time. Cozy games like New Horizons are some of the easiest games to learn.
I did see Brody Robertson make a video, or reacting to a video titled like, what games are to a non-gamer or something, and they did one for casual games. And Animal Crossing New Horizons is very much for that casual blue wave audience who doesn't really know what games are, and it's very easy to kind of pick up and learn because a lot of the mechanics are stuff you do IRL. Things like gardening, things like selling things. It's basically like, if I put Kingdom Hearts 1 in front of a person, what the fuck are they gonna do? I don't know how to hold a Keyblade. I don't know how to fucking swing it. What are potions? What? New Horizons, like, oh, it's like real life. There's logic behind the game design, and the game design is based on IRL principles and like IRL, you know, stuff you do. You shovel, you chop down trees, you plant. So it's very easy to learn because it is rooted in reality. So it makes a lot more sense for them who haven't played video games before to be like, hey, I know how to shovel things. I know how to sell things. Rather than, I know how to become a Keyblade. We're going to fight the Heartless.
It's not a game that requires a lot of previous experience with a controller or video games in general. Your grandma can pick up a couple of Joy-Cons, press a few buttons, and successfully play. Or your dog. Panda could probably do it. Oh, never mind, she's scared of it. Zoe could probably do it. There we go. Good girl, Zoe. As a result, a perfect storm is created that allowed New Horizons to become one of the greatest selling games of all time on the Switch, selling over 40 million copies worldwide. And
because it really filled a gap on social interactions that we weren't getting during COVID. So, like, that makes a lot of sense.
Also caused about 20 million new Switch console sales in 2020 alone. Everyone saw these crazy numbers. There was finally a demand for cozy games, and people wanted to capitalize.
I wouldn't say there was a demand for cozy games. It's just people wanted more multiplayer social. The reason why Animal Crossing sold well wasn't because it was a cozy game. It was because it was filling a gap that we were sorely lacking back during COVID.
On that. Let's time travel back to present day. The cozy community
you can't, a little bit of a nitpick, you can't travel back to the future. I know those, I love Back to the Future, the movie, but like, Back to the Future is kind of a grammatically incorrect title.
Exploded. There are 40 million people who are interested in these relaxing games. So why
I disagree, but let's move on.
Why not make a game that they would want? Said every developer ever.
So here's the thing about developers and trend chasing, and I'm a game dev, so I know this shit. The thing about developers and trend chasing is that they don't, a lot of like indie devs don't really have a sense of what is lacking in the market. A lot of indie devs who are like first time, second time, small team, that sort of thing, if they're trying to capitalize on something, they're trying to capitalize on a market, not filling in a gap that people want, if that makes sense. The difference between like someone making like a Hearts-like game. The Hearts-like genre, and I'll probably touch on this like another time, the Hearts-like genre has blown up. Games like, I guess right now that's kind of that. Luminous Nights. I think one was called Geno Kids or something. A lot of like games that are very similar to Kingdom Hearts, like combat and everything. That's starting to pop up a lot because there is nothing like it. There's a lack of a market for it. What a lot of devs don't understand, and I'm hoping this video touches on that, no one is making a Souls-like because there's a lack of Souls-likes. No one is making a farming sim because there's a lack of a farming sim. No one is making a roguelike deck builder because there's no roguelike deck builders out there. Inscription was an anomaly because it was like a genre of game that not a lot of developers were making at the time. Inscription blew up and developers were like, there's a small number of games in a large market, let's fill that, and then comes the oversaturation. My main point is that developers aren't making these type of games because it's what players want. It's because there's money in that market. And they haven't realized yet that the market has become oversaturated after 1, 2, 3 years because games take a lot longer to develop. So by the time like they were like Fae Farm probably was in development for a while, right? They didn't release that game at the right time. It was just in development because back then there wasn't a market for it. Now there is a market for it, and now everyone's like, "Oh fuck! There's like 50 different farming games. What the fuck?" Yes, I'm a game dev. I made several game jam games, several small games. You know, I have my game dev experience basically.
Now that we're 3 years after New Horizons release, we're getting a lot
I can DM you a link to my itch anime.
Games from brand new studios and small teams, which is awesome, but also awful.
It's mostly awful, but carry on.
You can tell some of these titles were created to just solely make a ton of money, which is fine. If you spend 3 years making something, it should be profitable.
What is this called? Like Starlight Valley, the Disney one? I will only play Starlight Valley if they add Jose Carioca or Panchito Pistoles to the game. If they don't add that, I'm not touching it, basically. Same thing with, like, fucking that one Disney kart game, Disney Speedsters or something. That game has Jose and Panchito as, like, helpers for Donald, because Donald's a kart racer in the game. I need Jose or Panchito to be actual, like, separate racers. You know, I would play that shit all fucking day. Same thing like Tekken 8, where it's like, yeah, I play Tekken 8 for the story, but I'm not really interested unless Heihachi's in the game. And now Heihachi's coming, so I'm fucking playing that. Like, I have this weird thing of like, it's a lot of fighting games as well. I don't want to play a fighting game to learn new characters. I want to play a fighting game for familiarity. Like, I didn't really play Street Fighter 6 until M. Bison showed up, and now I'm like, well, fuck, I'll play M. Bison Street Fighter 6 sometime. I won't play Guilty Gear Strive until Bridget came out. Now Brisket's out, so I'm like, fuck it, I play that. I haven't really played that as much. I'm not really a fan of Guilty Gear, but, like, I bought it. I bought the Bridget DLC. I'm the trans girl rep, whoopee. I don't buy a lot of games for the face value. I buy the games for, hey, your favorite characters on this. You know what I mean? That's where a lot of, like, multiplayer types. If it's, like, a fucking single-player game, then, yeah, of course I'm gonna delve into it, like, myself, like, with a fresh face. But, like, a lot of, like, multiplayer type stuff, it's like, I don't really want to invest in this unless I know for a fact I have a comfort character. And then I can try other characters and be like, okay, who is this, who is that, etc.
But there's no love behind some of them. No patience, no formula that makes these games, well, good. A lot of them kind of suck.
A lot of them kind of suck because it's an oversaturated market. They're trying to chase trends. I'm hoping, and I've said this before, I'm hoping that this is like, no one wants cozy games because they're cozy games. No one wants cozy games because most cozy games suck. You know what I mean? And that's turning off a lot of people. Like, I don't play cozy games because, like, I could shit out a fucking farming sim in a year with, like, a couple people. Like, it's easy, right? But what made Stardew Valley work, what made Animal Crossing work, is not only because it is a quote-unquote cozy game, but it was because of the time it was released, the circumstances it was released on. New Horizons came out because of the pandemic, stuff like that. So a lot of these games aren't popular because people want more of these experiences. It's just luck. It's just circumstances and everything.
Is that just because games like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley raised the bar so high? It's hard to live up to almost perfection. The more you look at some of these cozy games and compare them to just other games in general, the more you notice a lot's missing. There's plenty of cozy out there, but these games need something more. Just having nice music isn't enough.
I'm very glad they're touching upon this because the main point that I have is because cozy games suck because there isn't engaging gameplay loops, basically. I'm hoping this is what they're trying to go for.
I can just go to Lo-Fi Girl. She's
Yeah.
always there when you need her.
Yeah.
And she's free. Mainly, there's a lack of reward for almost no risk.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at a half-cozy game, Cult of the Lamb. Got a really nice aesthetic, allows you to decorate, but also has a challenging aspect of a roguelike combat mechanic, hence the half-cozy.
I totally agree with this. You cannot have cozy be the selling point. You need to have something that engages the more core audience, so that way the casual gamers will be like, oh, this has some mechanics in it. Oh, I'm a late gamer. And the core gamers are like, finally, something that isn't shit on a goddamn year.
The way you unlock decorations is by exploring and fighting your way through dungeons. As you progress, you'll unlock some items which you can decorate your area with.
If you've seen my Court of the Lamb streams, like way back when, I think there's some of the VODs that are still up on my YouTube. I think Twitch kind of removed them. When I play Court of the Lamb, I love Court of the Lamb, by the way. I'll probably replay it sometime. I'd like to do a playthrough of it, or like the DLC or something. The reason why I kept playing Court of the Lamb wasn't because of decorations. It was because I wanted to have more cult members, basically. Growing my stuff, having the cult members do things. There were other players that want it because I want to decorate my house pretty, basically. But the reason why, like, I gravitated towards this game is because, like, it's not because of the decoration mechanics, right? But I'm hoping this person will say, like, oh, it's also because you can grow more cults, you can do more stuff with them. I'm playing Guilty Gear and play Testament Rand now. I want to play Sim because equally rusted and fun. Yeah, I don't really play Guilty Gear as much. I have it, but, like, don't ask me to play it. I'd rather play, like, Street Fighter Third Strike, Marvel's Capcom 2, most other fighting games.
There's a lot of risk going through these dungeons. You have to kill all the enemies and defeat the boss, all while surviving. Death means you have to start over that dungeon run. Plus, your cult members think you're weak and not worthy of being their leader, because you're just lame. So if you fail, now you have to go through the whole dungeon all over again, and make your people like you so they don't turn against you. Games don't have to have combat to have a good risk-reward system. The risk could just be the time you're putting into the game. Is the reward from completing this goal worth the time that you have to put into it? Like the catch 100 fish in a row Nook Mile goal. Is it worth your time? It's just a few Nook Miles. You can get these by spending more time completing the easier Nook Mile Plus goals.
I'd argue that, like, combat is probably, like, the easiest way to have a bit of risk-reward. It's not the only way, but it is certainly the easiest. Like, Rune Factory is a good example of a game that I would potentially play on stream because, yes, it has the farming sim and has the blah, blah, blah. It also has combat. You can also romance people. I've been kind of joking this for, like, years now, but it's starting to turn more and more unironic. The next Animal Crossing game should have romance mechanics. That's a really good risk-reward system for, like, you know, I put time into this villager, you know, we love each other, mwah, mwah, mwah. It would appeal to the furry fan base. I'm a furry, so, like, it would appeal to me a lot. I'm surprised there isn't, like, a furry version of, or, like a romance version of Animal Crossing that's, like, an indie version. Like, where is that? I'd buy that. Imagine all the lewd fan art they'd make of that.
But for some people, the reward of completing the goal is worth the risk of spending time to catch 99 fish in a row, messing up.
But I don't want, like, it's just Animal Crossing but hentai. I'm not really saying that. I'm saying more, like, just general mechanics, like Persona romance mechanics. That makes sense?
That last one, and then having to restart the entire fishing process all over again. A lot of cozy games don't have risk, which makes sense, right? They're supposed to be cozy, but we need to be rewarded somehow for our work. Why risk an hour of my time to get nothing out of it? I need to work towards something. Games in general.
Yeah, this is basically kind of a different worded version of like what I kind of think with these type of games. Um, a lot of these type of games don't have engaging enough gameplay loops to keep me interested. And another way of saying this is, well, it doesn't have any reward for what I'm doing. It's kind of like two sides of the same coin in terms of the problem with a lot of these games nowadays. There's a reason why I don't play farming sims. It's because I want to play my hacky, slashy Devil May Cries, my Kingdom Heartses, etc. Because I'm not interested in farming. I'm interested in being the shadow of monsters. So it's not only different tastes, but it's also like different expectations and like what am I getting out of this experience, basically.
General needs some type of progression. Whether that's unlocking items to decorate with, or completing a full-blown story, there has to be some kind of satisfaction when playing, and the story better be good. There are some cozy games that you progress through a story, but sometimes the story just isn't captivating. I don't like progressing just for the sake of progressing unless I care about the world and the characters, or I'm rewarded for exploring the world.
God,
And if the story
the more I see Jennifer, I'm like, this looks like the lowest budget game you. This looks like someone plastered a bunch of like Disney models you get off of like an asset store and put them in like Unity or Unreal Engine.
progression isn't appealing enough, then the game is boring, and it doesn't give me a reason to keep coming back.
It just looks.
I swear,
It just looks fucking so cheap.
I only go back to Disney Dreamlight Valley because of the Battle Pass, and then I just never even finished that, and then I stopped playing, and then it's a problem. Though the latest update did add a little bit to the story, so that was nice, but it only lasted like 20 minutes.
Well, the reason people play Disney Dreamlight Valley is, oh my god, it's this Disney character. It's Member Berries. It's Member Berries the game. Where it's like, oh my god, it's this Disney character I watched when I was 2. It's the genie. It's Elsa. It's blah, blah, blah. That's the reason why people are playing it. It's not because it's a good game, it's because I want to unlock the character I like. It's basically kind of, sort of, it's oversimplifying. It's simplifying things, but it's kind of like why Fortnite is really popular, is because, oh my god, I can get this character that I grew up with and I can fight people with him, basically.
This seems to be an unfortunate trend in the cozy game genre. It feels like some developers use the word cozy as an excuse to have minimal gameplay.
Yes! Yes! And it's also because devs trend chase. They don't care about art as gameplay mechanics as art. They don't care about engaging loops or combat systems. They make a game to make money. Oh, this Stardew Valley is good. I'll ship that in a year. I'll make tons of money. They don't care about the loops. They don't care about the core memories or the experience. A lot of people shit on the AAA scene for a lot of soulless issues that they have. Oh, they keep making the same games as a service thing. They keep making Destiny clones. They keep making extraction shooter clones that are not good. People don't realize that indie games have that issue, if not worse, because indie games is a larger amount of people. Sure, AAA games may have millions and millions, sometimes billions of dollars backing behind it, but indie games have a lot easier barrier to entry. Literally anyone can be an indie game dev, right? You have to take some guts to be like a AAA dev and like get your experience. You have to go to school and blah 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 blah. Indie game dev, you can just make a game, and you're an indie game dev now. You just make a game jam, one game jam game. That's all it takes you to be a fucking indie dev. It's the same thing with like, oh, you program a thing in Hello World, like Hello World in Python. Congratulations, you're a programmer. It's like it's easy, and because of that, there is a lot more people trying to cash in. Whereas AAA spaces, there's like, yes, there's billions of dollars in backing and support and funding and stuff like that, but those are contained areas. There's Square Enix, Capcom, EA, etc. Indie games don't really have that. It's just a lot of like, it's a lot more of a quantity of like circles, if that makes sense.
Sometimes this is the overall vision, like this bug catching game. Its sole purpose is just to catch bugs, which is fine if that's all you as a player want in a game, but besides completing your encyclopedia, Catching bugs is the only thing to do.
Yeah, don't make games because you want to, like, cash in on something or because, well, this is popular so I can do it too. Make games you want to play. Make games that you think, I want this type of game to exist, I'm going to make it myself. Because a lot more people are going to gravitate towards that. Like, I want more Kingdom Hearts games, so people are making Kingdom Hearts likes, and there you go. That's a great way of making a game. You could say something about Souls likes, but I'd argue that's kind of in the trend of, like, people are only really making Souls like not because they want, like, Dark Souls 4, 5, 6, Bloodborne 2, whatever. Except, like, Lies of P. I've heard Lies of P is really fucking good. I may play that at some point. I'm not entirely sure. But because Souls likes are popular, sure, we can do that. You know what I mean?
It was fun for the 30 minutes I played, but I got bored pretty quickly. It just wasn't for me, which makes sense because bugs really aren't my thing. They have legs and wings and yeah, I don't know. I don't like bugs. But I wanted something more out of the game. Granted, this one was just a demo, so I'm sure the full game does have a bit more, but I need something unique to keep me invested. A lot of these cozy...
It needs combat. It needs to be the inspiration for Pokemon, like that fucking Japanese beetle fighting game. It needs that shit. And it's like, oh, I like this game. There's a reason for catching bugs. You can fight other people, you know? That's like Pokemon's just a big fucking thing. Yes, you can catch Pokemon, but there's an incentive to catch Pokemon, which is fighting other people.
The games make players do stuff for the sake of doing stuff. Why am I playing this game? Is it just to kill time? Or do I want it to be engaging? Just because a part of a game takes a long time to complete doesn't replace the fact that you need to add content.
Yep.
Stuff taking a long time doesn't equal more engaging content. It just gives players more of a reason to fall out.
It's a meme, but there's a reason why people say I want games with worse... I want to pay more for games with worse graphics and less content. It's because people would rather pay for more tight, short, like a packed 4 to 5 hour game rather than kind of like a bland, airy, like padded out, like 50-hour game, if that makes sense.
Out of a game. That content better be appealing, especially if it's a mechanic that requires a lot of time taken from someone's.
That looks like a fucking Unity default walk asset. I know this because I worked in Unity before. It looks like the fucking dude with the sunglasses when you're fucking doing your first Unity project. You're kind of running around and shit. It looks just like that character controller, just like tweak it a little bit. Like, the fuck?
Players want to play games that are worth their time, not a waste of time. There are a lot of cozy games where the villager dialogue is a struggle and it takes away the immersion. I don't need someone to tell me about the current weather 20 times or tell me over and over again that it's easier to get around without thorns around. That's
the reason why I don't like Fae Farms, because it looks fucking This is Fae Farm, by the way. It looks soulless as shit. And also, you want a reason for... You want villager dialogue that sounds like a goddamn human rather than, hey, dumbass, there's a thing in the corner, go get it! You know what I mean? You want to have it be a more alive world rather than just pieces of advice, if that makes sense.
Anymore.
Like, give me useless dialogue, like, hey, I just ate a burger last night and it shit like mad. Give me shit like that instead of, hey, did you know this tip? Hey, did you know this tip? You know, because that doesn't really feel like an engaging world full of life, if that makes sense.
Bestie, I know. I destroyed them. Villager interactions are supposed to be a fully fleshed out mechanic.
Oh, Mira, when I first played Animal Crossing New Horizons, Mira was my first villager along with like some penguin guy. Mira's so fucking cool. Oh my god, I miss her so much. I haven't played Animal Crossing New Horizons in fucking 5 years or whatever, like I think 3 actually. 3 or 4. I think Animal Crossing came out right before the pandemic, so probably like 4 years. But I haven't played that game in a while. They're probably like dead in my game or something.
Interactions are supposed to be a fully fleshed out mechanic. I understand that writing a ton of dialogue can be a pain, especially when developers are trying to translate it into a bunch of different languages, but if there are going to be villagers...
Well, here's what you do. Don't add language support day one. Release in English day one. Have fan translations be your main thing, because that's kind of like what a lot of Steam games do nowadays. Like, people can contribute to like translations, and they do that after the fact. Write useless dialogue, but write it only for one, maybe two languages. Then post support be like, hey, we made this game in this language, and this language. You don't need to add 15 goddamn languages to the start of your game, like day one launch. Just make it in like one or two of the most popular languages, and done with it.
In romancing, at least make me want to romance them, like Hodari. So glad we can romance him. Games like Palia and Star.
No. Oh, he's hot. And what's their personality? What's their relation to the game? It's why I don't like 99% of like husbando bait that I love, like cishet women who play like Genshin Impact and shit. Like, it's, oh, he's that. What's his personality like? Do you just want him to step on you, or do you think he's like a cool character? Give me more than just he's daddy. But that's a whole other topic. That's outside the scope of this fucking video.
Stardew Valley give each character their own story to discover and quest lines to complete based on their lives, as well as personalized exclusive rewards that you can only get from that character. Players feel like a part of the town instead of just a player in a game. And the NPCs interact with you differently based on your relationship.
These characters look so weird. Is that supposed to be an elf? What is this character design?
I accidentally played Palia without headphones on, and Wrath said that one line while Drew was sitting next to me.
You're into bad boys, aren't you?
Anyway, they interact with you differently. Or this game called Grave Seasons, where you can accidentally marry a murderer. Talk about risk. Many cozy games completely gloss over the important mechanic that is character development. Even New Horizons. Though after playing some of these other games, New Horizons villagers, they don't seem so bad. Give us more than repetitive, pointless dialogue.
Yeah, the reason why New Horizons has like really deep dialogue with a lot of the characters and like they have like personality quirks and everything is because they have a lot of previous games to build off of. It's not just we write 500,000 lines of dialogue for our villagers, because they're building off of previous stuff. So like a villager may have 500 lines in the GameCube game. Okay, we'll add 500 more in the DS game, or if I had 500 more in the 3DS game. Now you have like 2,000 in the Switch version. It's like they're building off of that, right? They will add new characters to each entry, but the reason why some characters have so much piece of dialogue is because they're building on top of the previous iteration.
Verbally abuse me like the GameCube Animal Crossing. At least being shut down a bit gave me something interesting to read for a second. The world isn't always sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, the fucking GameCuber is just needlessly rude, and it's like, I need more shit like that.
Should my gameplay. Bland dialogue and stories do nothing for players, except make us complain on Twitter, and talk about it in every video ever about what could be improved about Animal Crossing. Don't look at my videos. Go, stop talking about it. I swear, this is the last one where I talk about bad dialogue. Cozy games need to do something different to set themselves apart from the dozens of other cozy games that are coming out around the same time. The amount of days that I go on Twitter and there's a post about like, oh, look at these 4 games all coming out on the same day. How am I supposed to play all 4 games? Stagger them, please.
All these games look the goddamn same. It's oversaturation. This image. Take this image. This is why cozy games suck. This image. They all just kind of blend into each other. There's nothing that really sets it out. That sets it apart from other games. Just take out the fucking titles. Give me, what is this game called? What is this game called? I won't fucking answer because there's no identity to this. It's just, here's yet another Western animation style inspired cozy farming sim game with a bunch of characters. I don't care.
We're in a cozy boom. There's a ton of...
We're in oversaturation. The boom happened years ago. We're in oversaturation now.
I want these future games to do something that others aren't. Take A Little to the Left, for example. Definitely a cozy game. It has puzzles to solve, like a lot of games do, but it concentrates on those puzzles by creating unique experiences. Some even have multiple solutions that make you want to replay the level. There really isn't anything like A Little to the Left out there, except those flash jigsaw puzzles.
Unpacking. I believe A Little Left was inspired by unpacking.
That you randomly play when you're bored. On top of satisfying puzzles to solve with a ton of progression rewards and feeling like the smartest person around, it also has an amazing soundtrack and incredibly satisfying sound effects. These stamps unsticking themselves, perfect. The coin sounds, on point. This game does a lot to set itself apart from the rest of the genre. Not everything has to be Animal Crossing. We have Animal Crossing at home. We don't need...
Not everything needs to be farming sims. You're kind of simplifying the point a little bit. Not everything needs to be farming sims. It's why I don't play farming sims. It's why I play fucking action games, because, like, I want more Devil May Cry, but, like, with this weapon.
need more clones. And you really don't want to compete with Nintendo's Cozy. All the little details they add make their games an experience that's almost impossible to replicate.
Yeah, dunk on Nintendo all on with their really bad business decisions they make like every month. A lot of Nintendo games have so much polish put into them. Like, Luigi's Mansion 2 is like a goddamn Pixar movie. It's insane the amount of because they have billions and billions of dollars because, you know, they're Nintendo, right? They can make polished games because they have the money for it.
Except for Stardew Valley. I don't think wood has ever been so satisfying to chop. But sometimes
Minecraft. I'd argue Minecraft.
there's room for improvement. Let's take Stardew Valley, for example. It's a game that took heavy inspiration from the Harvest Moon series, greatly improved upon it, and now the modern Harvest Moon Story of Season games are just trying to keep up with Stardew Valley. We can't keep playing the same game over and over again.
Yeah,
Players
I
want
agree.
to play something different.
Yep.
Or if it's going to be similar, it better drastically...
Make games that don't exist. Just make games that just don't exist in the market. Don't try to make games that already are a thing.
improve upon what we already have, kind of like how Stardew Valley did. But just stop making us farm. If we're farming for the sake of farming, it's the worst. You can't just add farming to any kind of game and call it a cozy game, Square Enix. I at least want a cooking minigame or something to do with the food that we harvest. Or just be farming simulator and make it only about farming. I don't need to...
Or add combat. It's like Root Factory is so popular because like, oh, it's this but combat.
harvest crops in every cozy game. Cozy games are a trend that everyone is hopping onto. Even games like Pokemon are trying for a more cozy experience.
Kind
Gone are
of.
the days of grinding relentlessly and finding your way through David Bowie's labyrinth to avoid as many trainer battles as possible. You can essentially choose how you want to play the game, which I guess is fine, but it's just kind of like, it's just boring. I'm just gonna go back and play Pokemon Blue. But
I heavily disagree with that. It's not trying to be cozy, it's trying to be more of an open world game. Which may have problems of itself, but it's not the fault of Pokemon trying to be Star. That's kind of a flawed way of looking at that.
you can also like give Pikachu a bath now, so that's pretty cozy, I guess. But players...
It's not because it's cozy, it's because I want to take care of my Pokemon in better ways. I want to pet the Gengar. I want to wash the Gengar. I want to hug the Gengar. I want to give the Gengar head pats and hugs and cuddle at night. Like, I want Pokemon to not just be, this character's in a party selection. I want it to actually feel like a companion. You know what I mean?
just don't want games that just play themselves. I still need some level of tediousness to keep me interested. I don't want to avoid everything difficult in a game. Don't let me just run around the trainer. There still needs to be some type of challenge. Because the genre is such a trend, there are a bunch of games that you can clearly tell they're just trying to make a quick buck. There's no love behind the game, barely any effort.
Literally most games after a genre boom. That's like 99% of like roguelike deck builders after Inscription is just, oh, we don't want to make this game because we want something new. We're making this game because we want to make money.
Effort, just the bare minimum to get by. I need to be completely immersed in the cozy world to fill up my internal coziness. I don't want to play a newly released game and 2 weeks later there's a paid expansion or DLC announced.
Oh my god,
Developers
fucking
should
hate
take
that.
a note out of Concerned Apes' book. Give us free updates for almost 10 years. Okay, that's a bit ridiculous, but his continuously positive actions make anything other than free expansive updates seem lame and greedy. He had a vision for what Stardew was, and kept pushing out free updates after release until it got to his original vision, and then some. We've gotten so many updates for this amazing game. Most of us don't mind paying for true extra content. I'm going to bring up A Little to the Left again. But they have a great, complete game, with DLC that was released well over a year after the initial game came out. Not to mention, the base game is good, and it's a good price. $15 for hours of play in a daily puzzle that you can keep coming back to? I'm not at all salty about their fairly priced DLC that doesn't break the bank. Unlike other games that have been around for decades that somehow charge crazy
That's
money
what I'm playing
for
Sims 4.
pieces of furniture. Look at these, they're so stupid. I hate it. And a little to the left ends. I can pop in once a day to do a daily puzzle, but it's not a game that requires a ton of daily commitment. And you aren't really missing out on anything if you decide to not play for the day. No economy to miss out on, no FOMO. While I love games that I can keep playing 5 years down the line, I'm so sick of logging into 18 games every day to do my dailies. Not everything has to go on forever.
I agree.
If it doesn't make sense for your game, make the game end. And if it's a game that can be played forever, the developers need to give players a reason to keep going. Do something different than the others. Don't make my daily just logging in so I can pay money for my wishes so I can maybe get this one cute character maybe that might possibly
Pretty
show up.
much.
But we will all stop playing eventually.
Fuck Genshin Impact, by the way. Hate Genshin Impact. All my homies hate Genshin Impact.
Animal Crossing will always have a leg up on
Z3 is just a lot fucking better. Hey, Prince Muggsy, how's it going?
these cozy games. With nostalgia, a huge studio, and the brilliant minds of Nintendo behind the game, it's impossible for Animal Crossing to fail.
We met at TwitchCon! Ayo! That's nice. I've been a fucking ton of people at TwitchCon. So positive I don't recognize you immediately. Cause I met too many people. And it's like, wait, were you the... If you remember where we met at, was it at a community meetup? Was it just... I was with Crunchy Pickle, I think, for the most part. Remind me where I met at. Please, I'm kind of brain dead.
Just don't look at this one. This one never existed. The greatest cozy games come from some...
I think it was the block party. I did not go to the block party. That was the one thing I didn't go to at TwitchCon.
Type of nostalgia. For many players, that's when we're at our coziest. We yearn for a world that doesn't exist for us currently. It's important that we dive into a place that we want to live in, that creates a nice community to be able to connect with others, without a pull or some type of heartache or adventure. We really don't get the full...
Or combat mechanics. Give me my action combat. That's why Rune Factory is so good.
...version of cozy. I'm happy to live in a world where cozy games exist. A select few have been a great escape, maybe too good of a distraction. But I have become more picky with the cozy games I buy. Quality over quantity, always. Life is short, don't spend it wasting time on an uncozy experience. There are too many out there that don't live up to the hype, and while I'm sure the developers have the game's best interest at heart, sometimes it doesn't always come through when playing. Games need more than just slapping together mechanics like fishing and farming and calling it a day. The cozy game bar needs to be raised, so the future of the genre is beautiful. And I'll see you next time. Bye!
Or just make... No, I don't want to watch the unfilled potential video games. Fuck off. Just add combat mechanics to your game. It's all I want. Just combat mechanics. We're going to go on ad break. We'll be back in 3 minutes, and we watch one more video and then get on to our first game of the day. So we will see you all in 3 minutes.